Oh yes, what's cracking, y'all? It's your boy IK, the Infinite King, and we are back for some more Destiny 2 news. We got a thick, meaty article today, and it's talking about weapons. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. But first, Destiny 2 dev team, I have a favor to ask. If we take a look right here, see this weapon? This right here? Lord of Wolves. Can you do me a favor for my boy Noodle Shoulders? Can we buff this again? Can we remove the nerf, please? Do it for my boy. Just for the one time. For the last time. Please. All right, y'all, let's get into this article. Dev Insights, Weapons, Artifacts, and Focusing Preview. Before we dig in, we wanted to take a moment to thank you. Seeing your reactions has been really moving to us. Frankly, we wouldn't be here without you. And the way you continue to show up for us in this world means more than we can fully put into words. Every memory and every moment you've shared with us over the years has fueled our future. Every ounce of our June update is for you, and we hope you'll feel it as you continue to read through our insight articles and upcoming twids, let alone when you're playing the update with us on June 9th. Yeah, it's a bit sappy and sentimental, but that's how we're feeling while reading all of your stories over the last week. We hope to keep building worlds to inspire friendship for years to come, and truly couldn't do it without you and your voices. Again, thank you for being here and for sticking with us. All right, let's get to the goods. Dev Insight number 2 starts now.
Greetings, Guardians. We are here today to share the many balance changes and updates that the Destiny 2 dev team has been working on for the Monument of Triumph update. Coming June 9th, it's a long article, so here's a list of main topics you'll find in it.
The new weapon tier upgrading system. Tier upgrading for crafted weapons. Buffs to many exotics like Anarchy, the Lament, and Vex Mythic class. Oh, I know somebody's going to be happy about this one. Including new catalysts and improvements for previous ones. Wither Horde? Balance update to most legendary weapon types, including an overall buff to primary weapon damage and PvE. Okay, good. Targeted buffs to most special weapons for PvE. Many legendary perk fixes and buffs. A preview of the very customizable Artifact 2.0, including new ways to counter champions. Saving your choices in loadouts. Thank you. Updates to vendors, weapon focusing, and gear attunement. So before we get started, I'm going to take a little sip. Stay hydrated, y'all. This article is going to be very thick, so I suggest y'all do the same. Grab a cold one, grab a loved one, and here we go. Introducing weapon tier upgrading. Hi there, Guardians. This is the Sandbox team here to talk about weapon tier upgrading, a new system releasing with Monument of Triumph that will allow players to upgrade their weapons gear tier for a cost to access additional enhanced perks and even the gear tier 5 cosmetics. We wanted players to still feel as though lower tier drops can have value, especially if you spike into the exact role you want, with a want for higher tier gear to have an easier time getting that perfect role due to multi-perk. All weapons integrated into the gear tiering system will be eligible to undergo tier upgrading, including those that have already dropped and are resting within your vault. In the weapon inspection screen, there will be a new weapon mod socket where you can apply a mod for a cost that will upgrade your weapon to the next applicable gear tier. While this new upgrading path allows a player to unlock all the enhanced perk benefits of tier 5 gear as well as access the unique tier 5 cosmetics, it can't add perks to the columns of your weapon, meaning if you haven't quite found your god role or you prefer a weapon with additional options in its column, you may still want to chase multi-perk drops. To add a bit more value to gear tier 3 in lieu of it being mainly about unlocking multi-perk today, we've shifted the unlock of enhanced mods to this gear tier for all weapons. Below is an example of the mod players will see at gear tier 1 that upon application by the player for a cost will upgrade their left and right traits to enhanced traits. So, all right. What I'm getting from this so far is that it'll just upgrade to tier 5, but it won't give additional perks. So right here we got a tier 1. You can upgrade it to tier 2 using Ascendant Alloy and Enhancement Prism. So evil golf balls and prisms, and then the final upgrade from tier 4 to 5 will therefore have unlocked all enhanced perks, enhanced mods, enhanced barrels, mags, the masterwork stat boost when fully masterworked, and the combat flare ornament combo. So it'll enhance the mods that are already there and just bump it to tier 5, but so it'll get like the stat boost, but not much else. You won't be getting the perks. I mean, I guess I get it, just from the sense of farming. Like, want to keep us engaged, so we'll still want to farm for certain things. If you already have a god roll of a tier one weapon, then I guess that makes sense to upgrade it to tier five. But otherwise, it makes sense to still continue to farm for stuff. So, I'm okay with this. Exotic Weapon Catalyst. With Monument of Triumph being the final release for Destiny 2, we didn't want to leave any exotic behind when it came to catalysts. We also have handpicked existing legendary perks that thematically tie into each exotic weapon's story or strength. We want to keep most of these a nice surprise for you once the update hits, but here's a sneak preview of a handful of these. Chaperone, Triple Tap. Parasite, Envious Arsenal. Taraba, Ambitious Assassin. Okay. Additionally, we've also added perks to all of the oldest catalysts that only gave stat boosts to help bring them up to the same tier as more recent weapons. Here are two examples. Crimson to the Pain and Merciless Heal Clip. Ooh! In total, we've added 25 catalysts to weapons that did not have one already, 9 perks added to existing catalysts that only had weapon stats as a bonus. Nice. Okay, so for Chaperone, you see Triple Tap here. Rapidly landing precision hits will return 1 round to the magazine. This might make it more viable for PvE encounters, potentially. Dealing damage with both other weapons before readying this weapon refills it from reserves. Ooh, so this will be a good DPS. It might be a good DPS option. I'm not sure yet. It depends, but something to consider there. And then for Taraba, we have overflows the magazine based on the number of rapid kills before reloading. Interesting. So good for ad clear. We hope these help breathe some life into some new options in your arsenal. Cool. Enhancing weapon crafting. With Monument of Triumph's update, adding new armor set bonuses to earn in our raid destination content, we wanted those weapons to feel relevant again, but not necessarily ask players to regrind them under gear tiering. We know players have already put forth a lot of effort to unlock patterns throughout the game, so we wanted to treat them with some updates while giving players additional reasons to finish up their patterns if they hadn't yet. As we investigated options, we concluded that we could update all crafted weapons to the power of gear tiering, but through a slightly different method involving the crafting table. Upon logging in, any legendary crafted weapon that already exists will immediately be eligible for a version of gear tier upgrading, and any newly crafted legendary weapons can be taken on the same upgrade journey. In the inspection screen of a crafted weapon, navigating the weapon level boost icon, there will be a new mod that will allow you to also improve the tier of the weapon upon reaching specific weapon levels. All right, so here we have a crafted Fatebringer, and then you can see right next to the level upgrade icon, we have a tier upgrade icon. So same thing, I would assume here. You get the perks that you already have in that one column, but you can continue to upgrade it to get the boost for these specific weapon perk stats when you upgrade it to tier 5. On a crafted weapon, gear tier will act a bit differently than other weapons, as it won't immediately provide the gear tier benefits. At gear tier 3, players will unlock enhanced weapon mods, and at gear tier 5, it will unlock cosmetics just like any other weapon in the gear tier system. However, for all other tiers, it will correspond with the unlocking of enhanced components at the crafting table. All right, so that makes sense. So you'll get the enhanced mods, weapon mods at gear 3, and at tier 3, and at tier 5, you'll get the cosmetic. When you reach weapon level 11, you can upgrade to gear tier 2, and just like with a fresh tiered weapon drop, you'll gain access to enhanced left and right column traits. At weapon level 25, you can upgrade to gear tier 4 and add enhanced components like barrels or magazines. At level 30, you'll be able to upgrade to gear tier 5 and add enhanced origin traits. So this is going to take a lot of resources because you're going to have to upgrade to, if you want, to tier 5. You got to upgrade it to level 30, and then you'll have everything enhanced. And once you get to level 30, you can add the enhanced origin traits. Origins will behave a bit differently than most perks in the crafting table as well. The menu will showcase all available origin traits, and the selection of any enhanced perk to insert will reflect in the entire column being enhanced upon selecting reshape. The same is true vice versa. If you wish to return to base traits, selection of any base trait for the origin column will still allow the other options to be available after reshaping. Interesting. So it looks like we have to reshape to get these benefits. Origins will behave a bit differently. Okay. All right, so it looks like we have to reshape before we get the origin trait enhancements as well, if I'm understanding this properly. Same is true vice versa. If you wish to return to base traits, select any of the base selection of any base trait for the origin column will still allow the other options to be available upon reshaping. All right. So we have options as far as the crafting table is concerned. Still kind of bummed that you don't get, like, I guess, additional random perks just unlocked when you continue to upgrade the tier. But again, if you already have a god roll sitting in your vault, you can upgrade it to tier 5. It's probably just going to cost a lot of resources. Because the sandbox has evolved and changed since some of these destination and raid weapons entered crafting, we've also updated them to have some additional new trait options. 2 new traits per column. For instance, Supercharged Magazine and Jolting Feedback have been added to Oversoul Edict. Other non-raid destination crafted weapons won't have new perks, but they are receiving enhanced origin traits for the first time. And we did revisit a few of those underperforming origins, including Head Rush, which now activates on a slide and provides a small boost in damage against hive opponents. Okay, I like this. I like the Supercharged Magazine and Jolting Feedback for Oversoul Edict. Especially if you haven't had the opportunity to get all of the stuff for Necrochasm. I believe Oversoul Edict is the legendary, if I'm not mistaken. We also haven't forgotten about rated depth weapons, and they will gain all the same benefits. These weapons will still gain additional traits based on the number of patterns collected from their non-adept counterparts and are eligible to swap out their components like barrels, mags at the crafting relic. They'll also continue to upgrade their traits via original enhancement feature. With Monuments of Triumph, however, these raid adepts will gain access to the tier upgrade mod like crafted weapons and can visit the relic to upgrade to enhanced components and enhanced origins. These weapons will still retain a bit of an extra stat boost on top of their non-adept counterparts and their unique adept shader to add a bit of prestige for those who have gone through the challenge of acquiring them. All right, cool. So, you know, if you already have adept weapons, you can get all the benefits from increasing the gear tier and everything at the crafting table. So that's dope. So overall, I'm digging it. Again, I'm a little sad that you don't get just kind of random perks. That would still be kind of cool. I feel like if it was randomized, it would still incentivize farming. But again, I understand it, especially like if you do have a tier 1 god roll, you can still enhance it to tier 5. So, and the fact that you can do this for craftable weapons as well, you can, well, yeah, I guess if they're crafted already, you already picked out what you wanted, the perks that you wanted for that roll, so you can just enhance it all the way to tier 5. So that makes sense. All right, I'm digging it. Weapon sandbox updates, ammo systems changes. Oh, no. No. What did they do to special? The ammo system has received buffs to underperforming weapons, nerfs to outliers, and several bug fixes and quality of life improvements. General. We have modified the ammo system so that if an enemy is floating above a pit, they will not drop an ammo brick when defeated, even if it fills the meter. You will continue to gain ammo meter progress, but your next kill on an enemy that is not above a pit will spawn the owed ammo brick instead. Thank you. It is infuriating when there's like a witch or a wizard just floating around and you kill the crap out of them and then they just drop it into the ether. So thank you for that. Special ammo weapons. We took a baseline swing at making double specials slightly less viable for ad clear. Boo. Outside of that rule, this change is generally offset by the damage buffs previously given to non-rocket pulse special ammo weapons. So while it may require one more kill to earn a brick, it may also require less shots overall to kill targets. Okay, so some balance. Reduce the amount of meter progress special ammo weapons gain from defeats against minor enemies by 17% at 100 ammo gen stat. Personally, I'm a fan of special. I always have been. I was never a fan of the ammo meter system. Personally, I think it was fine just the way that it was. I see the arguments for, you know, the opposing perspective, but just me personally, I've always been a fan of just being able to use my special whenever I wanted. Linear fusion rifles. Both special ammo and heavy ammo precision linear fusion rifles felt like they were not getting enough ammo per brick, so we have increased the amount for each. Okay, heavy ammo precision LFRs, base increase from 3 to 5, nice, enhanced increase from 4 to 6. Special ammo precision LFRs, base increase from 3 to 5, enhanced increase from 6 to 10. That's fine. I'm cool with that. It would be annoying if we needed to use them in like damage rotation or something like that. So making sure that they have more ammo, that's fine. Buried Bloodline. I believe that is the Void sidearm. Corrected an issue where Buried Bloodline was not correctly getting additional ammo from enhanced ammo bricks. All right, cool. Choir of One. Choir of One is simply too free in terms of ammo, both in isolation and in double special builds. It is one of the only special weapons that didn't follow the standard rules for ammo brick values. These changes make this weapon follow those rules. Base reduced from 45 to 35, and enhanced reduced from 90 to 70. So I never really used Choir of One that much, but I know a lot of people have for a lot of higher difficulty activities. So sorry. Rocket pulse rifles. A bug was causing rocket pulses to have double the ammo when used with another special ammo weapon. For example, running 2 rocket pulses at the same time was entirely viable because they both got full ammo brick amounts instead of half. This has the effect of reducing the challenge of endgame content and invalidating other special weapons. Fix an issue that was sometimes causing rocket pulses to only earn 2 shots per base brick. Fix an issue where Sayaturna was not correctly having its ammo brick increased by scavenger mods. Fix an issue where legendary rocket pulses were not correctly having their ammo brick split when used with a second special weapon. I don't know. I mean, rocket pulses are really good. They were super fun to use. The fact that they did get more ammo, just yeah, sure, it made them more viable. I don't know. There's nitpick things like this that I don't know that you really needed to touch. Somebody else can make an argument for it, but these are the little things like this, I feel like are things like you just don't really have to touch as much. This feels like borderline fun police-ish, but if you're buffing other things and you're buffing the damage per shot, I guess it's fine. Like it balances itself out, so we'll see. Only in the Crucible. Some Crucible specific changes were needed to reduce special ammo uptime that was fueled by non-primary weapon use. Yeah, a lot of y'all don't know how to use primaries, and it shows. It's disgusting. I'm talking to you, specifically hunters. Reduce the point gains from special ammo and heavy ammo kills and assists, and super kills by 33%. Damn. Reduce glaive melee gains by 20%. Oh, man, I like sticking them in. Adaptive burst LFRs got too much ammo from heavy crates for how potent they are compared to other weapons. Reduced adaptive burst LFR ammo crates from 5 to 3. Rapid fire machine guns felt like they weren't getting enough ammo from crates, so we have increased this value. Increase rapid fire LMG ammo from crates from maximum 45 to maximum 62 based on magazine size. Other LMGs remain capped at 22. Bitter ends ammo from crates has been reduced to fit within this scale. So more LMGs in Crucible, LFRs, maybe not as much. This, I'm a little sad. There are some special weapons I really do like to use, but again, I liked Crucible how it was with all the special ammo before, but I gotta use my primary more. And it's not like I don't, I do, but I like using my special. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, still, like it's you know, chop the legs off of hunters all day, please. Next week, I'm hoping, fingers crossed. Exotic weapon tuning. With the Monument of Triumph, we also have a wide assortment of exotic weapon adjustments for you to enjoy. Have a look at what we changed here. The Jade Rabbit is infuriating to use in PvP. This should have gotten adjusted. The Jade Rabbit has long... Oh, let me shut my mouth. The Jade Rabbit has long been a choice pick in PvP on specific builds and specific maps, but it has seen little play elsewhere. We've made some rather significant adjustments to help its gameplay feel a bit less clunky and give it some more life in PvE activities. Increase the magazine size from 10 to 15. Remove Zen Moment. Added Shoot to Loot and Firefly as the 2 traits. Fate of All Fools. Increase the maximum stacks cap to 15. In addition to chaining precision hits, precision kills can now add a stack. Gaining a stack now refills the magazine and increases stability. Stacks will no longer be completely removed when you reload. Dealing direct body shot damage will remove 1 stack. Scales the damage of Firefly when it is active, and dealing splash damage will not remove a stack of the perk. Jesus. In addition to adding stability, special reloading will consume all stacks of Fatal Ball Fools and grant a singular micro missile round, which deals bonus damage based on the number of stacks consumed. Wow. But PvP though. Oh man, I feel like this is just gonna continue to incentivize people in the back of the map, like in the garage of the map, like in the border of the country of the map, just sitting back with Jade Rabbit. Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about this one. For PvE. For PvP specifically, I don't know how I feel. For PvE, it sounds great, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, man. All right, Vex Mythoclast. Toasty garments? As the sandbox evolved, Vex Mythoclast felt like it lagged behind other raid weapons in terms of strength and PvE content. We wanted to give the linear fusion shots something extra to help them feel worth the kill requirements to charge them, and we updated the intrinsic and catalyst to help make acquiring those kills a little easier. Timeless Mythoclast Intrinsic now has what is comparably a more potent version of rewind rounds while in full auto mode. Okay. Temporal Unlimiter trait. Precision kills with linear fusion rifle shots now trigger an ignition. Ooh. After leaving linear fusion rifle mode, the magazine is now fully reloaded. Oh my god. The HUD buff and magazine display have been tweaked to show the exact amount of linear fusion shots remaining. This is a purely visual change. Functionality remains the same. Calculated balance. Catalyst. Sustained damage can now also activate the catalyst in addition to kills. Added a HUD buff. Wow. Yeah, somebody that I know gonna be very happy about this. Might be time for me to dust it off too. Oh no. Touch of Malice. Despite multiple previous changes, Touch of Malice has not lived up to its Destiny 1 glory days. We've made a few changes baseline and to its catalyst that will help build into a potent exotic primary weapon through skilled play and build crafting. Increase final round bonus damage by 10%. Okay, set it up to the special reload that can be made faster by buffing reload speed. Okay, replace rapid hit in the catalyst with precision instrument. Gain increased stability and reloaded speed with each stack of charge with blight. All right. I gotta practice with this. I never really used Touch of Malice that much, but this seems like, again, more of a balance to kind of focus on dealing with the charges of blight a little bit more. So this should be interesting. I'm curious to try that out. Last Word. Much like many of our text weapons, the Last Word sits on a razor's edge between being extremely potent on a single input type or feeling tough to get value out of. This update will make it feel more viable on mouse and keyboard without totally tipping the power scales. Increased stability on mouse and keyboard by 10%. Good luck, PC players. Increased aim assist when hip firing on mouse and keyboard by 10%. PvP, an absolute nightmare, it's going to seem like for PC players dealing with PvP and Last Word. So good luck, y'all. Mida Multi-Tool. In PvE content, we wanted Mida Multi-Tool to further lean into building up modifications over the course of an activity. While we're happy with how this landed, we wanted to lower how many kills are required for each to reach that final modification. We also adjusted the catalyst by a small amount, giving it more utility in more situations. Lower the PvE combatant kill requirement from 10 kills per modification, 15 with macro tool, to 7 kills per modification, 10 with macro tool. This lowers the total kill requirement from 40 to 60 and from 27 to 40 to acquire all modifications. The catalyst's improved radar resolution now remains active for a few seconds when you stow multi-tool instead of immediately deactivating. Multi-tool still needs to be in your hands for the catalyst to activate. Okay, I'm down. Mida was my go-to in D1. I absolutely loved the scout rifle. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this makes it a bit more viable in PvE. Heirloom. Heirloom can be a potent option if you opted into its particular flavor of playstyle on its initial release, but it both did not feel worth the effort and did not live up to players' expectations of being a dungeon exotic weapon. We've made a number of adjustments here to help it flow a bit better, as well as hit even harder versus high priority targets. Increase charge rate by 20%. Okay. Increase impact damage of charge shots by 20% in PvE only. Reduce extra heat generated by charge shots by 7%. Increase the damage versus mini boss and champion targets by 20%. Increase damage versus boss targets by 10%. Added incandescent perk to catalyst. Beefy. All right, I'm good. I like that. Taraba. It felt odd for Taraba to not reward you for all its defeats, so we have remedied that while also building more tie-ins into the solar kit to let you get to the Ravenous Beast mode more often. Dealing damage to scorched combatants grants increased Ravenous Beast progress by 33%. Oh. Can generate full meter if all the mag hits a scorched enemy. Ooh, that'll be good for like champions and thicker enemies. So just thinking out loud, you can do like a Celestial Flame Warlock, throw the incendiary grenade. Then you have them scorched. You proc the ignition, and then you can also use this in addition to that, or just celestial flame scorch them, or do the snap on them, and then dump the mag on them. So okay, all right. My brain's thinking kills grant greatly increased progress 10% per kill for Ravenous Beast. So you can just run around. I like that. I actually might want to try this in PvE now. Anarchy. Once Finality's Augur was released. Oh yeah, Anarchy felt it no longer had a place as a point defense trap system, so we're amping up its traps capabilities to be more competitive with Finality's Augur. Finality's Augur was like the go-to exotic for PvE because you essentially launch a turret, specify or tell that turret to shoot the thing, and it would shoot the thing, and it was just like an extra buddy on top of having other stuff. So yeah, Anarchy kind of fell to the wayside there, so it makes sense. Increased arm trap lifetime by 50% from 10 to 15 seconds. Didn't they nerf that a while back? I can't remember if it was that they nerfed initially. Increased trap damage versus combatants by 30%. Oh my god. Double trap detonation damage versus combatants to better match the perk tick damage of a trap. Replace moving target with impromptu ammunition. Damn. So Anarchy's back. Holy crap. Divinity. Yes. Thank you, Salto Greppo, for getting this nerfed. Thanks. Because everybody's a top tier player. Thank you for that. Thanks. Let's see what they have to say here. After all this time, we felt it was fair to bring Divinity back up at least a little bit so that the dedicated Divinity user in your group didn't feel like they were wielding a sluggish gun and missing out on some damage. Increased damage of penance by 20%. Reduce the time to activate penance from 4 to 3 seconds. Reduce shots to activate the cage from 14 to... We back, Divinity. Let's go. We back. Haha. Sucker. Winterbite. Winterbite is an extremely solid workhorse glaive, but it feels overly punishing to shoot the projectile while in CQC. Reduce self-damage of the projectile by 66%. Hell yeah. All right. Ooh, yeah. There's going to be some fun stasis builds with that again. Yeah, I'm with it. Edge of action, concurrence, and intent. The class glaive should feel more like the apex power for an exotic version of a legendary glaive, so we're upping their charge rates of the special shots when you are fully engaged in the glaive loop. Rev up those doomsticks. Glaive projectiles now grant double progress towards special shot. Nice. Hierarchy, that's actually good. I'm down with that. I'm curious to see how that's going to be in PvP also. I can't wait for the sandbox. Update. Hierarchy of needs. We've updated Hierarchy of needs to make its seekers more interactive and build friendly, helping them better follow your precision shots through the guidance ring, applying Scorch for build crafting synergy, and feel more reliable at mid-range thanks to improved hipfire accuracy. Seekers now apply plus 15, plus 5 with Ember of Ashes Scorch to hit targets. Ooh, okay. Added hidden tracking for Seekers that guides them to targets recently hit by precision damage. Oh, added an increased hipfire accuracy to list the benefits provided by the catalyst. So you get a team of Hierarchy of Needs users. Annoying, but something else now I want to try in PvP. I'm liking this so far. Sunshot and Graviton Lance. Both Sunshot and Graviton Lance have been very easy to use while also having a high impact on gameplay for a long time now, and they tend to crowd out many similar options in the sandbox. We've made a few changes to both to make them a bit less able to wipe entire encounters with one kill. Really? While retaining their power on clumped groups. Rebalance the damage of explosion to deal more damage up close and less damage further away. That makes sense, I guess. I mean, I feel like I only really remember Graviton Lance being a menace in PvP before it got nerfed. Not even so much Sunshot, to be honest with you. This feels odd to me. Sunshot didn't really feel like as much of an issue in PvP as it did in PvE. And in PvE, it just felt fun. Like it didn't... I don't know how I feel about this one. Reduce damage up close. I mean, maybe you can offset this with artifacts and fragments, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like that one might have been unnecessary, in my opinion. Outbreak Perfected. There's a ton of love for Outbreak, especially with it being a primary weapon that can hang with our specials and heavies in endgame. In Monuments of Triumph, though, we are buffing our primaries across the board, and because of that, there is no need to reduce the delta between other strong primaries and Outbreak. Reduce damage bonus at maximum nanite stacks from 4.5 to 4 times. That's fine. You see this a lot more in PvP. So I'm okay with this overall. I don't think that takes that much of a hit also in PvE, so that's fine, I guess. Arbalest. With anti-chab rolling out across all weapons in the game, Arbalest was struggling more than ever for us during testing, so we are spot tuning that damage up a fair bit. Increased damage versus champions by 33%. Nice. Okay, I'll take that. Wardcliff Coil. Wardcliff Coil will be getting a couple of bug fixes and sorely needed max ammo increase. Fix the bug where firing Wardcliff Coil will not grant bolt charge if the firing player was too far off the ground. That's very specific. Mechanized autoloader now works while the weapon is stowed. Increase maximum ammo from 5 to 8. The Lament. The game has changed a lot since Lament received its last nerf. To account for that, we are reverting most of that last change to help it keep pace as a potent single target option. Reverted the previous nerf to this weapon by 70%. Return most of the final combo hit damage and self-healing the previous change reduced. So basically the Lament is back. It's back to being a good option. I'm just going to say that. Truth. Truth has long struggled to keep any kind of strong identity in Destiny 2. Not in PvP. We all have fond memories of wild tracking shots with it from Destiny 1, but the weapon struggles to keep up in today's sandbox. We've made some changes that let it lean into its 3 in the mag and gives it a splashy secondary effect if you land all your rockets. Now it returns 1 ammo to reserves and buffs the next magazine when all rounds in the magazine hit a target. When triggered, the next magazine gains dramatically increased rate of fire, stability, tracking strength, and cluster bombs. I want to see that in PvE. I definitely want to see that in PvE. I like that. Thunderlord. We're making small adjustment to the Thunderlord to put it more in line with other similar boss DPS options. Reduced ammo refunded by the Lightning Strike from 7 to 5 at base. I don't know if you needed to do that, but okay. Whirling Ovation. Whirling needs a little help to stay competitive with weapons that aren't rocket pulses. This update should help it feel snappy with an optimized damage rotation with a variety of weapon types. Yeah, I remember Whirling Ovation. That's from the Desert Perpetual raid. That's the exotic that you get. It didn't feel like it hit very hard or as hard as it could have. So increase the amount of anticipation gain per point of damage by just over 11%. I believe once you have max stacks of anticipation, the shot does a lot more damage, I believe. I never got it, so yay, something to look forward to. Prometheus Lens. Prometheus Lens got its Scorch effect in a very different Destiny 2 sandbox, so we're giving it a bit of love to be able to keep up against other similar weapons. Increased Scorch stacks applied per trigger, up to 20, plus 10 with Ember of Ashes from 10 with Ember of Ashes. Wow, okay. We'll see how that works in PvP. Centrifuge. Centrifuge's sprint reload effect just felt a touch too slow for use as the main way you reload the weapon. So we're making that a bit easier to rely on and subsequently keep its perk at full potency. Increase the amount of magazine refilled per trigger to 10%, up from 4. Okay, I'm down. Slayer's Fang. Slayer's Fang was a potent option when it first released, but has since fallen behind some more versatile options. We're giving it a few changes that allow you to be a bit more liberal with its usage, as well as bringing back a bit of an effect it used to have prior to its release. Increase magazine size by 2. Okay. Increase reserve ammo by 10. Now slowly reloads itself while its buff is active. Okay. Xenophage. Once a terror of Gambit and PvE alike, Xenophage definitely has had a hard time in today's sandbox. We're giving it a bit more total ammo to help it keep up with similar options and be a bit less strict on its economy. Increase ammo reserve by 10. All right. I'm down. Legendary sandbox tuning. All right. Time for a sip. Oh, God. All right, here we go. Primary ammo weapons have struggled to keep up against combatants, especially in harder activities, so we've implemented some broad changes to help them feel better to use. Legendary primary ammo weapons. Increase damage versus minor combatants by 30. Ooh, exotic primary weapons. Increase bonus damage versus minor combatants from 30 to 40. Non-blaster primary weapons. Increase damage versus major combatants by 15%. Oh, non-blaster, like I'm assuming that's non-heat blaster weapons, like the ones that were introduced in Renegades. So non-heat weapon primary weapons. So overall increase to majors by 15%. Blaster primary weapons increase bonus damage versus major combatants from 15 to 20. Okay, so if you're managing that heat a lot more, then you'll get a little bit more of a bonus to damage. Some special ammo weapons have dominated the sandbox, while others have felt left behind. We're making a targeted buff to all the left behind special ammo weapons to balance them out and to make more archetypes viable to use in PvE. Special ammo weapons increase damage versus major combatants by 20%. Exclude sniper rifles, rocket pulses, rocket sidearms, swords, and choir of one. Okay. On top of the above changes, these specific primary ammo archetypes got some additional balanced tuning. Auto rifles high impact, move RPM from 360 to 400. Reduce ADS damage fall off scalar from 1.7 to 1.6. Reduce base damage from 24 to 22. This includes Vexsmith class and Cerberus regime with dual speed receiver, but excludes Cerberus +1 and Sweet Business in its non-spun up state. Okay. This reducing base damage balances out with the increase in RPM, so that's going to be interesting. Adaptive, increase base damage from 15 to 15.5. Increase critical hit damage from 26.25 to 27.1. Pulse rifles, lightweight, reduce base damage from 19.7 to 18.8. Reduce critical hit damage from 31.5 to 30.1. Legacy frame, since these weapons inherit the damage change from lightweight pulse rifles, we're reverting the nerf to their ADS damage fall off scalar. Increase ADS damage fall off scalar from 1.6 back to 1.7. High impact pulse rifles reverted previous nerf to ADS damage fall off, increasing it from 1.6 back to 1.7. Scout rifles, rapid fire, reduced base damage from 28 to 27.3, reduced critical hit damage from 54.6 to 53.25. So far, overall, a buff to RPM for high impact autos, but a little bit of a damage reduction, but that balances out with the RPM update. Adaptive autos, increase in base damage overall, increased critical hit, so that's good. Pulse rifles seem to be getting a little bit of a nerf in general. Except for the ADS fall-off scalars. And then scouts, reduction overall, so a bit of a slight nerf. Hand cannons. Aggressive hand cannons reduce base damage from 49 to 48.7. All right, reduce critical hit damage from 90.65 to 90.1. Bows, increase damage versus minor combatants by an additional 20%. Increase damage versus major combatants by an additional 40. On top of the above changes, many special ammo weapon archetypes also got some buffs, along with some nerfs to one particular archetype that won't be too surprising to see. Rocket sidearm, increase projectile explosion radius by 33%. Okay. Fusion rifles, rapid fire, increase PvE damage scalar by 7%. Adaptive, increase PvE damage scalar by 10. Precision, increase PvE damage scalar by 20. High impact, increase PvE damage scalar by 15. Shotguns, aggressive, increase PvE damage by 15 or scalar by 15%. Improve the base stats of Fellwinter's Lie. Okay. Lightweight. Increased PvE damage scalar by 15%. Precision shotguns increase PvE damage scalar by 20%. Wonder if that's coming back in Iron Banner, and that's why they've addressed it here. Slug shotguns, rapid fire, increase PvE damage scalar by 10%. Pinpoint slug shotguns increase PvE damage scalar by 5. Okay, heavy burst increase PvE damage scalar by 10. Snipers aggressive increase PvE damage scalar by 15. Adaptive increase PvE damage scalar by 10. Glaives, rapid fire, increase PvE damage scalar by 10%. Trace rifles, increase damage versus minor combatants by an additional 20%. Oh, increase damage versus major combatants by an additional 20%. So overall, trace rifles, we're getting a buff. We out here. Exotic trace rifles, increase bonus damage versus minor combatants from 30 to 40%. Damn, so that means Divinity will be good for ad clear also. Rocket pulses, reduced ammo generation stat of legendary micro missile pulse rifles by 15%. Decrease PvE damage by 10%. Decrease damage versus bosses by 25. This is on top of the above 10. Damn. Reduce projectile explosion radius by 25. Damn, they just nerfed rocket pulses. Reduce super generation by 25% for Roman. Okay, so yeah, damn. Yeah. I mean, this normally happens. Yeah, here we go, swords. We'll get to it. I'm curious to see what they've done to lightsabers because, yeah. Finally, heavy ammo weapons got some attention to make them more effective against bosses and champions, along with some targeted ammo tuning. Heavy grenade launches increase damage versus bosses and champs by 5%. Rocket launches increase damage versus bosses and champs by 5. Crossbows increase damage versus bosses and champs by 10%. So, oh man, I'm blanking on the name, but the heavy bow. It does like a void debuff, I believe, and does damage over time. Linear fusion rifles increase the damage of all legendary LFRs versus bosses and champs by 10%. Precision increase PvE damage scalar by 10%. Increase ammo reserves by roughly 30%, including sleeper stimulant. Ooh, okay. So that'll make sleeper a little bit more viable again. Machine guns increase bitter ends reserve ammo. Swords decrease cost of vortex frame heavy attack from 6 to 4 ammo to match other heavy swords. Okay. Whew. Man, this thing is thick. All right, here we go. So overall, the biggest nerf it seems to be is with rocket pulses. I feel like they just stomped that out. Overall, most other weapon archetypes are getting some sort of buff, it seems. All right. Legendary perk changes. In addition to the legendary weapon archetype tuning, we've also made some changes to legendary weapon perks. A few older damage perks felt like they were lagging behind, so we buffed these perks in order to make them more competitive choices compared with more modern perks. Focus Fury. Damage bonus increased from 20 to 25. Hits required to activate decreased from 50% of the magazine to 35% of the magazine. Okay. Full Court. Maximum explosion damage bonus increased from 25 to 35. Lasting Impression. Explosive damage bonus increased from 25 to 35. Reservoir Burst. Damage bonus increased from 25%. 27.5 for an enhanced perk to 30% with 33 as an enhanced perk. Gunshot Straight. Reduce the aim assist penalty by 20% on the base perk and 25 on the enhanced perk. Ooh. Fixed an issue where this perk did not work on Bitter End. Adagio. Reduce the damage bonus on hand cannons from 30 to 27%. Yeah, because Big Maz, the legendary Void hand cannon, yeah, that was rather annoying. So thank you. Increase the damage bonus on shotguns and bows from 20% to 30%. All right. The following perks received some quality of life tuning to make them easier to activate on their own or with build crafting elements. Collective Action, Collective Pugilism, Cooling Baubles, Elemental Charge, and Facet of Honor. Now all share the same Tangle activator. Destroy a Tangle either by shooting it or upon impact after throwing it. Previously, this activator differed depending on the perk and would either activate when shooting a Tangle, picking up a Tangle, throwing a Tangle, or a combination of these despite sharing the same terminology in their strings. So basically, destroy the Tangle first to get these benefits. In addition to this activator, Collective Action and Collective Pugilism also grant additional time to their durations upon throwing a Tangle. Oh, okay. This unique behavior is called out in their descriptions. Artifact elements orbs are now officially considered elemental pickups for the sake of these perks and grant the same benefits as Tangles. As such, we fixed an issue where the artifact Arkmore orbs would give dark transcendence energy with Facet of Honor. They now give light transcendence energy. Okay. All right. Collective action. Fire Sprites, Void Breaches, 8 seconds. Ionic Traces, Stasis Shards, 4 seconds. Tangle Detonation, 4 seconds. Tangle Throw, 4 seconds. Instead of a flat 7 seconds, Elemental Pickup now provides differing amounts of time to the perk duration depending on how easy they are to create. These values match Collective Pugilism. To compensate for the lower duration gain on some Elemental Pickups, the damage bonus against PvE combatants has increased from 20 to 30%. The damage bonus against players remains at 10. The enhanced benefit no longer provides more time per pickup, but instead increases damage bonus to 33% against PvE combatants and 11% against players. Increase max time from 12 to 16 seconds. All right. All-Star. Damage timer is paused on weapon stow and resumed upon weapon equip. Okay. Desperado. In addition to its current activator of reloading after a precision kill, Desperado can now also activate when reloading after 3 rapid kills. Ooh. Interesting. Frenzy. Fix an issue where the enhanced version of Frenzy was not getting an extended duration when refreshed compared to standard Frenzy. Also fix an issue where Frenzy being inactive could prevent the Crucible Origin perk from activating. Stuff like this, like Desperado, I'm very curious to try out in Onslaught. Because there was an Onslaught build that my boy put me onto that utilized Desperado for a Void Pulse Rifle. And now with this change to it, I'm really curious to see how that's going to work. Jolting Feedback. Reduce shots to activate the perk by roughly 1 to 2 for scout rifles and hand cannons. Encore. Encore's HUD buff now displays a timer. Nice. Envious Assassin. Fix an issue where the perk was not working on some single shot weapons. Cascade Point. Since we removed the ready HUD buff when the weapon is stowed, we have simplified the activation criteria for dealing precision damage with other weapons. Auto rifles, pulse rifles, SMGs, trace rifles, sidearms, LMGs, you need 6 critical hits to activate Cascade Point. Hand cannon and scout rifles, 4 critical hits. And for bows, LFRs, glaive projectiles, shotguns, and sniper rifles, 2 critical hits for Cascade Point. For attrition orbs, now activates in 4 hits on waveframe grenade launchers, down from 10. Nice. Now activates in 3 hits on rocket launchers, down from 6. Yeah, because, I mean, yeah. Attrition orbs basically gives you orbs of power on sustained damage from weapons. So you can generate more on top of whatever you might have for your armor mods. But it was rough to get these benefits on weapons like wave frames just because of how long the effect of the wave frame would last. And same thing for rocket launchers. Like, it didn't make sense to have attrition orbs on a rocket launcher just from the amount of hits that you'd be doing with the rocket launcher. I don't know if these hits count with something like a rocket launcher that has cluster bomb. I'm curious about that, but it's good to see these changes specifically for attrition orbs. Contending Cascade, the number of rapid final blows needed for max benefits has been reduced from 15, 12 if enhanced, to 12, 10 if enhanced. Stat benefits are now maxed out when the elemental explosions are granted instead of scaling up to 20 rapid final blows. Full choke, pellet spread is now reduced by 5% instead of 3.25%. Shot package intrinsic, now reduced pellet spread by 25% when ADS. Alright. Finally, some origin trait tweaks we addressed to make them feel more impactful. Advanced Reflexes, Dreaming City origin trait. New effect, plus 5% damage bonus while active. Okay. Increased bonus handling from 30 to 40%. Increased bonus charge state swords from 20 to 35. Nice. Gun and Run, Gambit origin trait. So basically, origin traits are traits that weapons will get based on certain destinations. So if you have Dreaming City weapons, for example, they will receive this specific origin trait with those weapons. Basically, it's just like an additional perk each weapon gets based on where it might come from or its specific loot pool. Reworked effect for defeating targets, building stacks of gun and run for a short duration. Sprinting for a short time consumes a stack to partially reload this weapon's magazine from reserves on bows. This briefly improves draw speed. So, for something like Gnawing Hunger, basically the way this makes sense to me in my mind, if you get a new version of Gnawing Hunger with gun and run, defeating targets, build stacks of gun and run for a short duration. Once you have that stack, let's say you kill somebody in PvP, you run, you consume the stack, and then you'll partially reload the weapon so you have a bigger magazine when you're fighting your next opponent. So this will be really good, and it makes sense given the name, gun and run, right? Nanotech Tracer Missiles, Neomuna Destination Origin trait. Reduce the amount of hits needed for Basso Ostinato to activate Nanotech Tracer Missiles by roughly 1. I can't remember. I think, is that a rocket launcher? I believe that's a rocket launcher. I can't remember, but yeah, you get an additional tracer missile with 1 less shot. So, yay. Artifacts and Anti-Champion. Artifacts 2.0. With the Monument of Triumph, we are reworking the artifact items in multiple ways to better align them with a modern Destiny 2 and setting it up to withstand the test of time. This means streamlining the mod selection process, removing annoyances like the refunding dance, disabling the artifact in competitive and trials modes, and finally working in loadouts. Thank you. This was extremely infuriating, and it looks like we're also getting more loadout slots, which is cool. Because having to go to a specific loadout that you might use for PvP and then switching it, or like changing artifacts depending on PvP to then switching it back for PvE, that was extremely annoying. So I'm glad that they finally implemented this for the loadouts. What this means is that we have trimmed the total bloat on artifacts. Gone are the days of dedicated anti-champion columns and needing to refund mons to select one in earlier columns. This process has been simplified into 3 buckets that functionally perform just like the columns did before, but in a way that uses the visual language of our modern game and works in a more intuitive way. Now, when you want to switch out a mod in column 4, you can just do that and substitute it out for whatever fits instead of needing to clear out the later columns to be allowed to respec earlier ones. So what this is saying is basically before you would have these columns, right? You would have your artifact bonuses equipped, but if you wanted to get something in this last column, in order to change it from, let's say, this artifact mod to this one, you would have to then go back, readjust all the other ones that you had selected to then get you back to this point to select that last mod. It was extremely annoying. It didn't make sense. Basically, all they're saying is now you can just pick and choose in whatever column without having to remove everything and then redo your entire artifact. On top of this, we have built anti-champion capabilities directly into your guns, so you no longer must worry about your favorite guns not getting anti-champion offerings in a season, but more on that in a moment. Yes, thank you. Relic from the Past, Journey as a Renegade, works best with elements, kinetic, void, arc, weapons, swords, snipers, and machine guns. Interesting. Okay. Alongside all these updates also come 6 new mods, defragmented and deciphered from the data disk and into your hands. Tier 1, Fierce Proxemics? Yeah, Fierce Proxemics. Finisher, final blows grant grenade and melee energy. Okay. Rapid Remedy, machine gun rapid final blows heal you. Tier 2, Blinding Jolts. Final blows on jolted combatants blinds nearby combatants. Precision Equity, precision final blows builds progress towards a large orb of power that also grants bonus weapon damage on pickup. Higher ranked targets grant more progress. Taser Tag for Tier 3, arc powered melee hits jolt combatants and deal further damage for a short duration. Sticker Shock, Arc Flux, Magnetic, and Fusion Grenades deal more damage when attached to combatants on final blows. They release several micro missiles that seek nearby combatants. Oh my god. Ooh. Yeah, the Arc. Oh, yeah, so these are all the sticky grenades basically. Arc Flux is the Arc one, Magnetic is the Void, and Fusion Grenades are the Solar. Ooh, I'm about to be annoying in PvP. So what it's looking like is, I don't know. So we have tier 1 right here, tier 2 and tier 3. So I wonder if you get to add one of these into one of those tiers or if they're one of these here. But wait, there's more! For eagle-eyed readers, you might have noticed that we kept referring to artifacts in the plural, and for good reason. Artifacts for the past 6 years have served to shift around the meta season over season, encouraging you to try new things by giving some borrowed power. This model doesn't really work without seasons, so we are breaking the bank and not just offering 1 artifact, but a whopping 7 artifacts pulled from seasons past. What? Wow. Oh, this is sick. So basically, with certain artifacts for specific seasons, you would have certain perks that you could pick from, right? You would upgrade your artifact mod. Okay, I see it here. Tier 3, tier 2, tier 1. So you can have 2 tier 1 artifact mods, 3 tier 2 artifact mods, so anything from this row, and then 2 tier 3, so 2 of these up here. I understand it now, y'all. But now it makes sense. So this specific artifact mod offers these specific artifact mods for, at the time, that season, right? And it's telling you this works best with kinetic weapons, void, and arc as far as elements. And these are the weapons that it works best with, these specific mods. But since now we have artifacts from previous seasons, as we'll see here, this tells you these are the elements that this specific artifact mod works with. These are the mods specific to this artifact, and these are the weapons that it works best with. Wow. These selections were all made to cover as many fan favorite weapons, elements, and perks as possible, and we believe will give you a treasure trove of build crafting opportunities for years to come. Yes, it does. They won't be coming back perfectly identical though. In the past 6 years, the artifact has shifted quite a bit from the days of glimmer mods and anti-champion abilities to taking up a large swath of the slots, to the 7-row structure, and finally to boosts. We took a long look at each artifact and not only did a balance pass to make sure that they could live in perpetuality, looking at you flashover, but also how we can integrate the best of all versions of the artifacts to be available in a single build crafting ecosystem. Damn. This is sick. This might be one of my favorite changes so far. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, build crafting is going to be fun. It's really going to be fun with all these different artifacts and stuff like Onslaught. Woo! Yeah. We look forward to seeing what y'all build and how y'all combine these with the incredibly deep pool of new set bonuses and weapons. Woo! All right, Anti-Champion 2.0. With the removal of the first 2 columns of each artifact, we needed to find a new home for all of our champion counter effects. Given the nature of this final release, we decided to roll access to these effects into the intrinsic perks of every weapon in the game. Yes, every weapon, even exotics. We also made the decision to remove any activation criteria to all these effects, no matter which you're using. Simply firing the weapon will apply the associated effect immediately, assuming you land your shots. Here's a list of which intrinsic frames got what effect. So basically, champions are like overpowered enemies. There's 3 types: overload, barrier, and unstoppable. Unstoppable, you basically need to have an unstoppable weapon. You need to dump, I believe you had to charge up the shot, shoot it with that charged up shot by ADSing, and then that would stun the champion. Overload, you had to hit that freaking overload champion with enough of the corresponding element, I believe, in order to stun it. And then barrier champions, once they put up their barrier, you had to hit that barrier with a certain number of shots from an anti-barrier weapon or element in order to break that barrier and stun them. So, needless to say, they were extremely annoying and more so used for highly level content. So let's see what got what here. Weapon type. Aggressive frames got unstoppable. High impact frames got unstoppable. Precision weapons got barrier. Adaptive frames got barrier. And lightweight got overload, and rapid fire got overload. All right, so essentially, certain scouts, pulses, I mean, like any frame that has these nomenclature will give you this specific effect. I believe also for the weapon itself, it'll show up here in the bottom for the intrinsic traits of that particular weapon. So you'll see at the bottom of any weapon that you inspect, adaptive frame, this will give you anti-barrier rounds. So, all right, cool. This covers most of the weapons in the game. Here are what the more niche intrinsic frames received: weapon archetypes, weapon type, and effect. Support frame auto rifles got overload, nice. Adaptive burst linear fusion rifles got barrier. Area denial breach grenade launchers got overload. Okay, double fire breach grenade launchers got unstoppable. Micro missile breaches got unstoppable. Wave frame breach grenade launchers got unstoppable. Compressed wave grenade launchers got unstoppable. Heavy burst hand cannons got unstoppable. Spread shot hand cannons got overload. Aggressive burst submachine guns got unstoppable. Aggressive burst pulses got unstoppable. Heavy burst pulses got unstoppable. Legacy PR55 frame, which is Redrix's S-Stock and the Battler. Pulse rifles got barrier. Okay, rocket assisted sidearms got, or rocket assisted pulses and sidearms both got unstoppable. Makes sense. Disruption snipers got barrier. Caster swords, vortex, and wave. Okay, so caster sword got barrier. Vortex got overload. Wave frame sword got unstoppable. Interesting. Dynamic heat weapons, various different types, both got overload. So basically heat weapons got overload. So, okay. Exotic weapons got the effect that most reflected how exotic itself behaved. Here are a few interesting examples, but we'll let you all discover the rest once Monument of Triumph releases. Barrow Dyad got overload. Izanagi's Burden got barrier. It's a sniper, okay. Trinity Ghoul got overload. Makes sense for the shots. Xenophage got unstoppable. Okay, Parasite got barrier. Jotun, my little Pop-Tart machine, got unstoppable. Okay. Interesting. So, I mean, again, when you're picking out the weapon, you'll see the champion mod that it has at the bottom. So there's always going to be that, you know, visual identifier there at the bottom, so you'll know what you're working with. So, all right, cool. That's all for us here on the artifacts. The sandbox is going to be shifting drastically in Moment of Triumph, and we look forward to seeing the powerful builds y'all put together using both old and new pieces from our Guardians' storied legacy. Vendor updates. With this release, many of your favorite vendors across the tower are getting an update. Reputation rank rewards tracks are returning to many of the vendors: Shaxx, Zavala, Saint 14, Zur, Banshee, 44, and even your old pal, the Drifter. We've also expanded their focusing options significantly, as well as some other vendor-specific updates that we'll touch on below. Goodness gracious. All right. Let me take another sip, y'all, because this thing is beef. Oh, God. All right, here we go. Focus tiered gear. Focusing for tiered gear is now available on many vendors across the tower. This includes newly added gear as well as gear from across the last several releases. Excuse me. For example, the Edge of Fate, Ashen Iron, and Renegades weapons will be focusable at tier 3 and tier 4 depending on the player's power level. With the addition of upgradable weapons, you can take any rolls you get from focusing and upgrading them to tier 5, While activities will remain the best and most consistent source of natural tier 5 weapons, however, because armor is not upgradable, focusable armor will go up to tier 5. Huh. Yeah, armor does drop a lot more easily, so I guess that makes sense. Here's how gear focusing will work on vendors. General, weapons will be focusable at tier 3 or tier 4. Tier 3 requires 300 to 399 power, tier 4 requires 400 plus power, and tiered weapons may be upgraded to tier 5. Alright. Armors will be focusable based on power level. Tier 3 will be 300 to 399 power, tier 4 will be 400 to 519 power, and tier 5 will be 520 plus. So basically, I would say most players at this point are likely 550 as far as power is concerned. So you will most likely be getting tiered weapons at tier 5 and armor as well. But for those that might, be blueberries or new lights, got to pay attention to this and, just focus on trying to get to 550 to get your tier 5 weapons and armor. 801. Updated 801's shader inventory, added additional shaders, year 1 shader, pack shaders, 4 unreleased shaders, alchemy scorch, Bonamil loam, brine glow, charred plumage. Increase the number of available shaders per week from 3 to 6. Still randomly rotates through available shaders each week. Updated 801's legacy armor to no longer be on rotation. Expanded selection to all armors for transmog purposes. Updated threader bounty reset, no longer resets seasonally. Instead, players will earn one additional threader bounty per class per week. Nice. So basically, 801 is a vendor. You can get specific bounties from her that give you a type of currency that allows you to transmog your armor. So if you love a particular way a piece of armor looks, you can go to her, get that particular currency, and then use that to start transmogging your armor and get that drip. Maximum number of available threader bounties per class is 10. So basically, you get 10 per week per class for a total of 30. So that's 30 pieces of armor potentially per week that you can transmog. Wow. Yeah, this is the end, y'all. This is the end. Drifter. Gambit reputation rank reward track has been restored. Okay, updated Gambit focusing. Gear additions. Tiered focusing will utilize Gambit engrams. Now includes focusing for all tiered Gambit gear, including new Gambit weapons and armor. Nice. Banshee 44. Gunsmith rep rank reward track has been restored. Dismantling weapons and armors gives Gunsmith reputation again. Updated Gunsmith focusing now includes shared pool weapons from previous releases. Includes tiered gear from the Edge of Fate, Ashen Iron, and Renegades. Wow. So basically, the Drifter is getting a reward track as well as Banshee 44. So, nice. So we'll be getting additional stuff from those vendors as well. Hawthorne, updated clan engrams to give tiered gear. Nice. Saint 14, Trials of Osiris reputation rank reward track has been restored. Updated Trials focusing now includes focusing for all tiered Trials gear. Gear additions includes tiered gear from the Edge of Fate, Ashen Iron, and Renegades. Focusing will utilize Trials engrams. Saladin only available during Iron Banner. Updated Iron Banner focusing now includes gear focusing for all tiered Iron Banner gear. Gear additions includes tiered gear from the Edge of Fate, Ashen Iron, and Renegades. Focusing will utilize Iron Banner ciphers obtained through Iron Banner match completions. So basically what this is saying is you'll be able to focus for specific pieces of gear, but you need Trials engrams for Trials of Osiris, for Banshee. I think you can just focus. Oh no, for Hawthorne, no, for Saint 14, you can focus using the Trials engrams. For Saladin, you can focus specific armor and or weapons, I believe, using the Iron Banner cipher specifically. For Shaxx, Crucible reputation rank reward track has been restored. Updated Crucible focusing now includes focusing for all tiered Crucible and competitive Crucible gear. Gear additions includes tiered gear from the Edge of Fate, Ashen Iron, Renegades. Tiered focusing will utilize Crucible engrams. Thank goodness. Competitive Crucible gear will require Crucible ciphers, which can be obtained via competitive Crucible. All right, so you can only get this by playing comp and getting the ciphers in addition. Zur's reputation rank reward track has been restored. Purchasing items from Zur grants rep. Zur's inventory has been updated. New catalyst added to inventory. Tiered armor. Ooh, I wonder if any of those are going to be the new catalysts that they are introducing and tiered armor. Nice. Zavala. Vanguard reputation rank reward track has been restored. Updated Vanguard focusing now includes focusing for all tiers: solo ops, fireteam ops, arena ops, and pinnacle ops gear. Gear additions includes tiered gear from the Edge of Fate, Ash and Iron Renegades. Tiered focusing will utilize Vanguard engrams. Pinnacle ops and arena ops gear will require Vanguard ciphers, which can be obtained via pinnacle ops and arena ops activities. Nightfall ciphers that many players have in their inventory will be automatically updated to Vanguard ciphers. Nice. Rewards from Call to Arms are available to pick up from Zavala for those who have earned but not yet received them. Nice. Updated rotation for weekly Vanguard Arms rewards. Destination vendors. Updated gear to be distributed in Tier 3. Nice. Attune anywhere. Attunement now lives in your inventory, accessible anywhere, anytime. No longer will you have to go to a specific vendor to attune what you want to earn from the activities you are playing. With the huge amount of new and updated weapons in this release, we wanted to make it seamless for you and your fire team to have greater agency around farming for those god rolls than ever before. Hanging on in orbit or waiting for friends during a break between SRL races, take some time to attune your favorite weapons across various activity types. All right. Attunement exists for the following activities: distortions, world drops, solo ops, fireteam ops, arena ops, pinnacle ops, crucible ops, Trials of Osiris, Iron Banner, Gambit, Onslaught, SRL. Attunement. At any time, players can be attuned to one weapon for each activity type. For example, players can be attuned to Cry Mutiny in solo ops, Nightshade, and fireteam ops. Wow. Wow. Let me look at this. Is there anything we ain't got? Anything I need to know about? No? All right. Looking to see if there's any other, like, consumables that we might get. Wow. So you can just essentially focus what you want to get from any particular activity at any time. Attuning to a weapon means that you'll have a significantly higher drop chances for that weapon from activity rewards and will be available for all of the weapons in the active loot pools for each of the included activity types. Attunement is available for all players with no cost to attune or to unattune, with no limits on changing the weapons that you are attuned to. We hope this system helps you find the perfect weapons for your arsenal. So this is going to be really great for newer players because it'll give them the option to start focusing for specific weapons that might be great in the sandbox that they never had a chance to get because they weren't playing until now. So this is a great way to... And it doesn't say that you need to have had received it previously, right? It doesn't seem like they've said that you need to have had it previously in order to attune to it. So my assumption is that any of these weapons will be available for newer players to attune, and they can get it from that associated activity. Wow. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we made it. That's our Dev Insights article about weapons, the artifact, and how vendors, attunement, and focusing will work when the Monument of Triumph update drops on June 9th. We have more to share later today on our TWID, coming in just 2 hours. Stay tuned to find out about what's changing in the Crucible and what new rewards you can get in Pantheon and much more. So, a lot of stuff here. My favorite thing out of all of this, my two favorite things, are basically the artifacts being part of your loadouts, getting more loadout slots that are available, as well as just being able to go back to different artifacts and the changes to the artifact mod as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. If you've hung out with me until the end, please like, comment, subscribe. There's a lot of stuff that in this article is extremely, extremely dope, and I can't wait to try all this stuff out come June 9th. Once again, guys, if you haven't played it before, now's the time to play it. There's a lot of great stuff inside of Destiny 2 that's coming June 9th. Once again, like I said, log in, show them that we give a damn about this game and we want it to continue to thrive. And if there's any chance for a Destiny 3, this is going to be it. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, tell somebody that you care about, that you love them, because tomorrow ain't guaranteed, but today will be hype. I'll see you guys in the next video for the TWID. That was meaty. All right, later, y'all. Peace.
That we have